So, what do you want to talk about? Welcome back to JT Channel, and yes, that's right, it's time for WrestleMania 40 Night 2 reactions. Thank you to the 100 plus people who have watched Night 1. It has been such a wild weekend. The bags under my eyes are only getting bigger. They are suitcases now. I woke up this morning with Bray Wyatt's most recent song stuck in my head, and then I drove to where I work, which we ended up not working today, and I listened to Kingdom the whole way there. I probably listened to it 6 or 7 times. So spoiler alert, if you don't already know. But I'm going to do exactly what I did in video for Night 1, the video for Night 1, where I'm going to walk through the matches, but more like their most important spots, and like big spots, I mean, and of course the winners and how I felt about it. And just a quick warning now that we're a minute in, when I was doing, I don't usually practice these videos, I just kind of hit record and start talking. I practiced this, and when I practiced it, I swore a lot. Probably the most swearing I've ever done for a video on YouTube so far. So just kind of a heads up, I know there's a child right here, but I'm not here to ask for parenting advice. I'm here to review WrestleMania 40. So those are your heads up. Obviously, massive spoiler warning. The thumbnail is going to spoil everything for you. But let's go ahead and start with the opening contest, which was Drew McIntyre versus Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship with CM Punk on commentary. Oh boy. I would like to point out that these two had probably closely, I don't know how to say it, the words aren't coming right now, but basically they had immaculate entrances. That's the word I used when I was practicing this. Drew got played to the ring by like a Scottish bagpipe band, and Seth had like 30 or 40 of the craziest dressed people of all time playing random instruments, playing his theme song, and they all ran around the ring. CM Punk called them both goofs. That's not important, but it is. The match was awesome. Drew got a lot in, but it wasn't a squash by any stretch. It was a dominant performance by Drew.
It was a spot fest.
Yeah, pretty well. It was a, I don't want to call it an AEW match because that's wrong. If you hear honking, my daughter has a toy truck that I'm letting her play with. But there was a lot of finishers. There was like stomps on the announce table, pedigrees on the floor, stuff like that.
There was like 4 claymores. Yeah,
I was going to say, long story short, Drew had hit 3 claymores and Seth still managed to kick out. He hits a 4th claymore, 1, 2, 3. So Seth kind of got the Roman Reigns treatment where it didn't matter how many finishers he got hit with, he kept kicking out no matter what. And there was a lot more to this. Drew really was dominating Seth at a few points, throwing him around on like the outside. But Drew McIntyre, brand new World Heavyweight Champion for 5 minutes. He wins the match. He goes out to the announce table to taunt CM Punk. He does the Degeneration X crotch chop to him. Punk trips him up, takes the big arm brace off, punches Drew in the face with it, stomps all over him, blows a kiss to the camera, and as soon as he blows the kiss to the camera, Damian Priest music hits. He darts to the ring, just face plants Drew with the Money in the Bank briefcase. I mean, I didn't even realize. I rewatched it this morning, and I mean, he just like right in the face, and it bounces and goes flying almost into the crowd. Cashes his Money in the Bank. South of Heaven, 1, 2, 3. Damian Priest is your new World Heavyweight Champion, and you have 2 distinct, awesome shots. Not saying anything, well, let's say 3, because I don't want to leave Damian out of this, because I'm so happy for Damian. We'll talk about that in a second. But you have the shot afterwards. You hear Drew. He's standing on the announce table looking down at CM Punk, holding the belt up. And you hear Drew say, I want this on my wall. I want this framed. You have that awesome shot of Drew looking down at Punk. 5 minutes later, you have a shot of CM Punk cross-legged, sitting on the bench announce table, clapping, with Drew looking towards the camera, looking defeated. But then after that, you have a shot at the top of the stage of Damian Priest holding the World's Championship above his head with all the Judgment Day. I'm going to do this a few times in this video. Damian Priest is one of the guys that I've watched for a super long time when he was Punishment Martinez. And when he first debuted in NXT, I was all about him. And I've watched him grow all the way to the Judgment Day. And when he won Money in the Bank, I know people were upset that it wasn't LA Knight. But I was happy for Damian Priest because I love the guy. And this was just awesome. And the fact that he's only the 2nd person to cash in at WrestleMania. First one was Seth in the main event of WrestleMania 31. He does it in the opening World Championship match of WrestleMania 40. Perfect. Loved the match. Loved the aftermath. So happy for Damian Priest. And I know everyone wanted Drew to have his moment. He did. The current storyline necessitated something like this. Good for Drew for winning the title, but Drew knows, and Punk knows, and Damian and Triple H, everyone knew that this is the way we needed to go. Second match of the night was the 6-man tag team Philadelphia Street Fight. It was Bobby Lashley and Street Profits, the Pride, taking on the Final Testament, Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain, with Bubba Ray Dudley as special guest referee. Made all the sense in the world. Philadelphia, Paul Heyman, the Dudley Boys, and Snoop Dogg on commentary. It makes no sense at all other than the fact that the match was sponsored by Gin and Juice, and Snoop Dogg is consistently always high. Snoop Dogg did nothing for this match. My brother and I, well, what I've said a bunch of times is that he wasn't saying shit, but he was definitely making words. But it was a really fun 6-man tag team hardcore match. Tables, chairs, kendo sticks, the Prime hydration station, which kept getting beaten up throughout the whole weekend. Basically, the big spots we need to talk about, B-Fab and Scarlett went through a table. That was a cool spot for them. They got a cool moment. But in the end, Karrion Kross got in Bubba Ray's face. That caused him to get beat up. They did the waza headbutt, and then I didn't pause because I was embarrassed. I paused because I did it wrong. I'm embarrassed I did that wrong. But they did the headbutt. You guys know it, the Dudley Boys headbutt. And then they did the get the tables. It was awesome. They all shoved each other. Montez does his big splash. Bobby pins Karrion. Snoop Dogg gets in there. So it's Snoop Dogg, Bubba Ray Dudley, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, Bobby Lashley, all celebrating together. It was a really fun match for Philadelphia, especially. I bet Paul Heyman loved it. ECW faithful probably really enjoyed it. I know I did. So yeah, good on the Pride. I did say that if they had a match at WrestleMania, the Pride should win because the Final Testament has had their number this whole time. Next match was LA Knight versus AJ Styles. As you can see, I don't have my notebook. This one was pretty easy to remember. This was really good. Side note, I love AJ Styles' new theme song. I think it fits his heel persona better. His original theme that he started with in 2016 has kind of run its course after 8 years. And I definitely, like I said, it kind of really fits the heel persona he's doing now. I mean, he's been a bad guy before, but this persona specifically, I think, does really well for him, this new theme. But AJ ran to the ring. They beat the hell out of each other. Something my brother said. I'm going to bring up my brother a lot because we were messaging through both nights. But they really beat each other up, which is great because for the first few weeks of their feud, it didn't feel like a WrestleMania match until AJ flew halfway across the world to punch LA Knight in the face. And then they kept doing on-site fighting. There was the home invasion. So this match needed it, and it was a good match. My brain isn't telling me there was any sort of major spots other than the finish where LA Knight hits the BFT and beats AJ Styles. Good for LA Knight. He deserved to go over. The crowd was so into him the whole match, which Philly crowd was hot all night. The 6-man tag didn't have a hot crowd at first, but they picked up quick. So yeah, LA Knight beats AJ Styles. Couldn't be happier. I've always been a huge AJ Styles fan. Watched him since his early days in TNA, all the way to now. Never stopped watching AJ Styles. Excuse me. That's what happens when you are too excited. One more time. Okay. So then I have a drink. I'm going to water. So we move on to the next match. Logan Paul defending his United States Championship against Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. Logan Paul comes out in the biggest truck known to mankind with a giant Prime bottle cannon on it, and it's got Prime splattered all over it. Kevin Owens comes out. His entrance video and his shorts have KO Mania written in old school ECW letters, the purple and the red with the barbed wire. Then he goes behind the big L, pulls out, which maybe that was a sign, pulls out a golf cart looking thing, which on the back clearly has one of those things that people hold on to when they stand on the back of them. But he drives down to the ring. Orton comes out. He backs up to pick Orton up. They drive back down together. A lot of this match is half this match, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton beating up Logan Paul. Then they have to fight each other. They don't have a choice. The Prime bottle is out there. There was a lot of spots in this match that were good. Logan used the brass knucks a few times, and I bought it. Excuse me. Especially when he hit Orton. I thought that would be it. But then the Prime bottle gets involved, unmasks, I guess, and it's fucking iShow Speed. And if you know who that is, your jaw just hit the floor. If you don't know who that is, he's one of the most popular streamers in the world. The boys, who I've mentioned in my YouTube videos, my YouTuber videos, they've reacted to his stuff at least twice. And I know who he is from that, and I was shocked it was him. He took an RKO on the announce table, so, hey, I know Mully from the boys is a low gangster, so maybe they can get Mully on an Australian show. That'd be freaking... I'm moving on. The finish was fantastic. Kevin Owens went for a pop-up powerbomb on Orton, who twisted in midair to hit an RKO. I don't know how he keeps coming up with new ways to hit RKOs, but he just does. And then Logan comes in, throws out Orton, pins Kevin 1, 2, 3. So Kevin Owens and Randy Orton failed to win the United States title. It would have been nice for Kevin and Sami to have a moment together, but this makes sense. Makes all the sense in the world to me. SummerSlam is in Cleveland this year, where Logan is from. And every time he's in Cleveland, he says Cleveland sucks. So he shits on it every time he's there. So the fans can get excited to see him, but as it gets closer, he can start talking and being like, oh, I hate this town. I want to move out. I want to be from LA or whatever. And then my hope is that he faces LA Knight. And so we can get that. But yeah, so great match. WWE's been killing it with triple threats and multi-man matches lately. It wasn't your usual, one guy goes out of the ring and then two guys fight. Yeah, Logan was getting beat up for a while, but that made sense for the story. I just don't know who they're going to get next to hide in the Prime bottle. So now we get to the two emotional matches. Bayley versus Io Sky for the Women's Championship. Bayley had this Egyptian goddess entrance. It was really cool, really well done. Io had a great entrance as well. It was just her normal song or whatever, but the lights and the way they did everything for the entrance was really good. I'm going to take a second to do a sidebar. When Io Shirai arrived in NXT, I had no clue who she was. I was ignorant to the wider wrestling world, and I fell in love with her instantly. Loved her character, loved her wrestling, her theme song, everything about her. Of course, she got me into Poppy as well because Poppy rules. So to see her on this stage now as Io Sky was really, really cool. I don't need to talk about Bayley like that. We all love Bayley. We know why Bayley deserved this. But I was at SummerSlam in Nashville, where Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Shirai, still at the time, returned or showed up or whatever you want to call it. And when Bayley and Dakota were there, I freaked out. But when Io came out last, I almost fell down the concrete steps. I almost died. My buddy was like, did you almost fall? I was like, yeah, I did. So this was really exciting for me as a big fan of Io Shirai, now Io Sky. And, of course, we all love Bayley. As far as the match goes, really good. Io worked over the leg, which is weird to me. It feels like we had a lot of working over the leg over the weekend. But it was a really good match. Io hit her moonsault at one point. I'm pretty sure the over the moonsault and got a near fall. But in the end, Bayley hits a belly to back Bayley to belly. I can't believe I said that as well as I did. Hits the Macho Man elbow drop, hits the Rose Plant, 1, 2, 3. Bayley is the women's champion. Couldn't be happier for her. I teared up a little bit, but I was saving my tears for later. But it was an incredible match, an incredible moment that I don't want to be overshadowed by anything else. The women, absolutely killed it over this weekend. They really, really did. And this was a really good final women's match for WrestleMania weekend. Obviously now we move to the final chapter of the story, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Cody gets an awesome, epic entrance where he's wearing a skull mask with a crown on it. It's a very Triple H style mask. Brandy Rhodes comes with him, which is awesome. Crowd went nuts for Brandy Rhodes, which was nice to see. I am going to break this up into two parts because there's the main match itself, and then there's the greatest 5 minutes in professional wrestling history and the end. So really, I'm going to break it up into 3 or 4 parts. But the first part is the men themselves. I was telling my brother this, and I've said this to my wife, and I can't stop saying it. I've been watching Roman Reigns since he debuted as Lee Key when he had green trunks on and he looked like he was just born, like he was brand new. And I was like, man, there's something special about this Lee Key guy. And last night, Lee Key just main evented his 9th WrestleMania, breaking Hulk Hogan's WrestleMania main event record. He was champion for 1,316 days. I was a Roman Reigns fan through everything. When he was in the Shield, when he was out of the Shield, through them shoving Roman down our throats, to the dog food shit, to when he left because of his I can't remember what it was now. Basically, his cancer thing he had to go through. Then when he came back and he was in remission, then he left again because of the pandemic. And then I was not around. I'll leave it at that. But I remember seeing him with Paul Heyman, and I was like, what is going on now? And of course, throughout all the Tribal Chief stuff, it's been nice that as a longtime Roman Reigns fan, that he finally got exactly what he deserved, being on top for 4 straight years. You're welcome. And of course, once again, just like Bailey, I don't need to talk about Cody. We all know what Cody went through to get to where he is now. The match itself, the first part of the match with just Cody and Roman, awesome. My opinion, even better than last year. They know how to work. Lots of really good big moves. Roman using a kendo stick. I think he did the low blow before that. They were fighting all over the place. I think Cody's the one that went through the announce table with a power bomb, and then Roman Superman punch 1-2 ooh. So that I'm not taking anything from the performers.
It was Roman that went through the announce table. Roman tried to put Cody through it, and Cody ended up reversing it into Roman going through it. Because Cody was exhausted and had to try to get Roman back in the ring.
Either way, the announce table is done. They have a great back and forth for a while. But eventually Cody starts hitting Crossroads. And this is where this part is still important. So this is where we kind of get into what people are calling the greatest 5 minutes in pro wrestling history. This little more than 5 minutes if you include this part, where I'm so like I said, bags under my eyes. I'm coming back. So he's hitting Cody is hitting Crossroads, and Jimmy Uso shows up, hits him with a super kick. Sorry about that little 30 seconds where I just was not here. Told you it's been a long weekend. He hits Cody with a super kick. Jey Uso's music hits. They run up. They fight on the ramp. Jey spears Jimmy off of the stage through a couple tables. That was an awesome spot. Then the 5 minutes starts. Solo Sikoa shows up. Same thing as last year. 2 Crossroads, Samoan Spike. 1-2 kick out. Samoan Spike and Spear. 1-2 kick out. Solo is throwing a tantrum. He gets ready to go after Cody again. John Cena's music hits. He runs to the ring. Probably blows himself up running. He doesn't. Cena looks absolutely fantastic. He beats up Solo Sikoa, hits an AA on Roman, puts an AA on Solo through the Spanish announce table. As soon as that move is done, The Rock's music hits. Now you get Rock and Cena. They do the look at separate sides of the crowd thing. Cena says, "You can't see me." Gets hit with a rock bottom. Rock gets the Mama Rhodes belt out. Goes to start whipping Cody. The Shield's music hits. The fact that the strong majority of people thought Jon Moxley was coming back, I knew he wasn't, but even my brother was like, there's no way it's Mox, right? But it was Seth. He showed up in Shield gear with a chair, but Roman stopped him. Superman punch. Then, the moment that everyone thought, including myself, we were going to hear the glass shatter. Instead of glass, we got a gong. For seemingly no reason, except for the fact that it was awesome. The Undertaker returns, more or less as Mark Calloway. He's got a beanie on and a hoodie because it's cold in Philly. He hits a choke slam on The Rock. Lights go out. When they come back on, Rock is on the outside, but it looks like he's gone. There's a video of Undertaker literally running through the crowd. It's hilarious. Now we're down to Cody and Roman again. Roman picks up the chair to hit Cody. He hits Seth the exact same way Seth hit him all the way back in 2014. A decade-long story just finished. Then he goes for the spear. Cody knees him in the face. Crossroads, crossroads, crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes is your new WWE Universal Champion. Everybody comes... Well, I compared it to Bret Hart at WrestleMania 10, only at WrestleMania 10, the whole locker room emptied. This was the big baby faces, Kevin and Sammy and Orton and Cena. He called out Triple H and Bruce Pritchard and his mom and his wife and his not his stepdad, but his mother-in-law or father-in-law. It's just a big celebration for Cody. Everybody cried. I cried a bunch. Like I said, I listened to Kingdom a half dozen times or more this morning. So my reaction is that was probably the best WrestleMania main event of all time. And I know that could be hyperbole because I just watched it, but I've been reliving it all morning. And I can't. The match between Roman and Cody before the shenanigans started, before Jimmy Uso showed up, was really good. And then you had all the shenanigans, which added to it for obvious reasons. So it was an incredible night, an incredible show. Overall, this might be the best WrestleMania of all time. I need to go back and watch my other favorites, 17, 30, and see how they compare. But this was an awesome WrestleMania. It is a damn good time to be a pro wrestling fan, and we're not even done. It's Monday. It's the Raw after WrestleMania. Anything can still happen. So if you are a pro wrestling fan, stay tuned. And as far as Cody Rhodes goes, I acknowledged my tribal chief for 1,316 days. But now it's time to live the dream with the American Nightmare. This is JT Channel. I am JT, and we'll see you next time.